All right, welcome to Heavy Radio episode 19. Back at it again. This is
Heavy
Aaron.
Radio 19. This is Marco.
Marco's here, and also Marco, who is our guest today. We got a special guest for you guys.
And we have our most excellent guest, Sean Peck from Cage, The Three Tremors, Denner Sherman, and Death Dealer with the new one, Conquered Lands, out now through Steel Cartel, www.steelcartel.com, getting rave reviews from all over the world, magazines, papers, webzines, terrestrial radio online. It's a great feeling and awesome to have Sean Peck here.
Hell yeah, we'll be talking to Sean soon. But first, we will jump into some news stories. I got a couple here for you as the year is wrapping up. Not too much crazy going on, but there is some new exciting new music on coming next year. We got Blackmore's Night, Ace Frehley, and Rob Halford with Judas Priest, just to name a few, have recently sounded out that they are working on new music. So that's really exciting. It's been a very long year, to say the least, so looking forward to some good news, some new music for the new year. So that is awesome. And the other news story I found here is that the company Stern Pinball, who's made a ton of machines, they worked with people such as the Beatles and Metallica, AC/DC, Iron Maiden, to name a few. They're now going to be working with Led Zeppelin to make a new pinball table, which sounds really awesome. All the ones I mentioned before I've seen, got to play a couple of them, and they are rad, so I'm excited to see Led Zeppelin joining that roster.
Yeah, and looking on the rockin' side, you got AC/DC with the #1 record around the world, the fastest selling record of 2020. Saw a news bite from Al Pitrelli where he was saying, singing the praises of John Oliva, saying he's been sending him new music and new songs, new ideas all the time. He doesn't have an exact plan, but he really wants to get some Sabotage out there as soon as we all can get back out to concerts. So that is amazing. And we also want to say rock and power to Death's Chuck Schuldiner. He passed away this date in 2001. Crank some death loud for Chuck. Without further ado, we'll get into it with Sean Peck. Death Dealer has a new record that you can get now at steelcartel.com. The album is called Conquered Lands, and it's www.steelcartel.com. It's getting rave reviews from all over the world, magazines, papers, webzines, online, you name it. So that bit of it has to feel great there, Sean.
I mean, did you expect anything less from me? I mean, come on, guys. I mean, that's like standard procedure.
No, and especially, working with so many amazing people. And in this lineup, Stu Marshall, Steve Bolognese, Mike LaPond from Symphony X. I mean, I guess I think anybody would have to be crazy not to expect some fantastic heavy metal. So this is the third album, right? There was War Master, Hallowed Grounds, and now Conquered Lands.
Yes. Yeah, man. I want to, before we go into that, my friend owns a bar that's got a bunch of video games in it, and he has the biggest pinball machine. Like, they have pinball tournaments there. It's like where all the pinball freaks go. And he buys all the brand new games right when they go on sale. He owns a strip club right next to it too. It's really cool. You can get wasted, have a burger, play pinball, and then stumble over to the strip club and check out some of the ladies. But he's gonna be he'll probably call me tomorrow and go, dude, I'm getting the Led Zeppelin, because the Rick and Morty went on sale and it sold out in 4 hours for $8,000, and now you can't get them for $20,000. It's like,
jeez.
The Rick and Morty one went crazy. I'm going to go down there tomorrow and actually play it. So, anyways, but I digress. Enough pinball talk. Conquered Lands, yes. Our third record. We had this thing done for 4 years, and we finally got around to finishing it. You know, we were sitting on this for a long time, so it's kind of a weird one for me because I've been listening to that album for years now, and I'm doing all this press, and I had to go back and kind of re-listen to it, appreciate it, because Death Dealer has already finished the 4th album, and we're almost done with the 5th album now. Since COVID's been going on, I've recorded like 70 or 80 songs or something. I have so much metal about to spew forth to the masses. That, you know, I had to go back and go, okay, yeah, this is a kick-ass record, because I'm so into the new shit that I've been recording, you know. But it's really cool because we sold out of the vinyl and the first pressing of the Digipack, which is a pretty good number, and it's getting great support. We did a lot of, you know, marketing for it. We always put together these really cool packages. But one thing we can talk about is you know, people are like, well, I looked for it on Spotify and I couldn't find it. I could only find 3 songs. Well, that's how we set it up, that there are only 3 songs, which are the 3 songs we put out on videos for, are on Spotify. And the rest of the record, you know, we had this going from day one of our press junket was, you have to support metal and you have to support the band and go out and buy it. I don't know what you guys think about it, but to me, it's mind-boggling that, you know, Friday comes around and there's all these new record releases, and you can just click on your laptop and push a button and listen to everything for free. Like, you spend all that time and money working to put this record out, and then it's just free for everybody the day that it comes out. What do you think about that?
I've been following you for some time, and also being a musician, I've definitely experienced it too. So that was actually one of the first questions I was going to get into about. I know you've been critical of a number of the ways that other artists have been getting their music out there, and by staying away from some companies, it seems like it's helped strengthen this release, staying away from some companies and some types of releases that other people are doing. I definitely, just as a long time metalhead, I love the physical product and getting artwork. And I think that can change with the times. And obviously it does, without ever having to be, everyone just agrees to get, you know, pennies on, for their new music on some type of streaming service. So I definitely think that was a smart move. And, you know, where I'm coming from, I love that, because I wouldn't want it any other way than to get, even some of the, you know, the bonuses and the artwork, and just drop the needle on that album as the artist intended. So I personally love that you guys took that stand.
A lot of the press has really been embracing that, which is really cool. And the other thing that we did is, like, when we released the music video, you know, we're really all about our email list. If, you know, we want people to be on our email list, and the email list guys not only got to see the video like 1 or 2 days before everybody else did, but they also got an MP3 of the song for free. You know, because I'm like, hey, if it's gonna be on YouTube and Spotify, I might as well send everyone the fucking MP3. Fuck it, you know. And so people really dug that they got, you know, boom, click, here's the new video, and here's the song loaded up in your fucking phone, and you can listen to it whenever. And the 3, you know, tracks that we put out were really strong, and people fucking loved them, and that probably helped drive sales. And the one, I'll leave you with this one statement that I stole from Stan Lee. I've been saying in the press, I said, you know, we're trying to be, Steel Cartel's trying to be the kings of the physical medium, because we're, you know, our stuff looks amazing, and it's got, you know, innovative shit that not a lot of people have done yet. We're always trying to think of something new and crazy. We got new crazy ideas coming up in the future. But Stan Lee talked about comic books, and I do the same thing for metal. It's like heavy metal is like a nice pair of tits. It's much better holding it in your hands than it is looking at it on the internet. Right?
I think very few people could disagree with that.
Oh, there's some, man. We've definitely been realizing how many pussies there are in the heavy metal world, and especially in the heavy metal press lately. It's amazing, you know. People, like to me, this Death Dealer album and the stuff that I like is just straight heavy metal. I mean, it's like, you know, I grew up on Iron Maiden and Judas Priest and, you know, thrash stuff. So I like my stuff like Painkiller on steroids. And like all these reviews are like, oh, this is freaking testosterone muscle metal with leather and studs and, you know, glory to the old days. I'm like, that's just heavy metal. That ain't the fucking old days. Or muscle bound steroid heavy metal. I mean, I don't know what the fuck you're listening to. That's just, you know, you have a singer and you have fucking shredding guitars and you have, you know, double bass fucking wailing, and you're gonna say that I'm some weird fucking thing. This is the foundation for what all those other sub genres of metal came from. So what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah,
I know. So Cage has been going on multiple decades now. I was playing tracks from Astrology when I ran KULT, the college radio station at the University of Northern Iowa. And
nice.
I know this has been a hard year for people that play music, but let's talk about keeping a band going for that kind of haul. So it's like 8 albums, multiple decades. I know that's a lot of battling
92.
that you've done over the years.
1992.
Yeah, when Cage first started.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, and that, you know, Cage started when it was super uncool to be wearing the fucking jacket with studs on it. Like, dude, metal's dead. What the fuck are you thinking? And we're like, we don't care. We're gonna scream higher and louder and play more heavy metal. And it actually, you know, worked for us back then because there was like a power vacuum in Southern California. There were no other bands left. And that were like that. So when frickin' something like Great White came through, which were still drawing like 1,000 people back then, you know, they didn't have anybody else to call but Cage, and we fucking sucked back then, but we got all kinds of huge gigs when we first started.
That worked.
So we had to learn how to be entertainers, you know, early on, because you know, we weren't really that good of a band back then, and so we had to learn how to be performers to not get fucking booed off the stage. And, you know, opening for Maiden, opening for Priest, Scorpions. So, you know, people are like, do you have any advice for upcoming musicians? Yeah, it's like, don't follow the trends. Just your whole musical focus should be on what you like. Forget what anybody else says. Like, you need to write these songs to make you happy. And if someone else digs it along the way, then that's just a bonus.
I feel like, yeah, that's applicable for any genre, really. And I think you see it pay off when there's new artists that really are passionate about what they're doing. I think you can definitely tell in a lot of cases. So I totally agree. For you, when did the heavy music grab a hold of you? When did that start, kind of knowing that heavy metal was a way of life?
Man, it was like I was into, you know, it's like probably sophomore. I saw my first concert. That was the Fix up in Anchorage, Alaska. Red Skies at Night. Whoa. Saved by Zero. Anybody listening out there, if you know what the fuck I'm talking about. And so I was into that, and, you know, Flock of Seagulls and Blondie and Duran Duran and the Cars, and I still love those fucking records. But it was the song "You Can't Kill Rock and Roll" off Diary of a Madman. Like, something about that song.
Hell yeah.
Just fucking, like, I was like, what? I listened to it like 1 billion times in a row, you know. Then started listening to the rest of the record, and then I was living in Alaska, but we came down and visited California all the time, and my buddy was like, you know, like, hey, check out this Scorpions album, Blackout. And then I got into the Blackout album, and then, you know, my other friends were already into heavy metal, so they were like, hey, dude, you know, Defenders of the Faith was the first Priest album I heard, you know, and like, upon the signs that challenges with shrieks and I heard that song. I was like, what the fuck? Knives fly out like bullets.
yeah.
What the
Great
fuck
album.
is going on? Yeah, and so it was then it just like took off, and then I was totally into the Tooth and Nail album for Dokken, and that was just like fucking great album. And then they came up with Dio, and I went to that concert, and I was just like standing up, just fucking lost my fucking mind. And we even left halfway through Dio. Like Dio was cool, but I wasn't into Dio like I was at Tooth and Nail. They fucking blew Dio off the stage that night. I'm sorry, Ronnie James Dio. All due respect, but you got smoked that night. And we met two girls and took these two girls to Thunderbird Falls, and you can do the math of the rest. But after that night, I was like, heavy metal is the way, So there were just posters, everything, Maiden. It took off from there, and then I came down, from Alaska, being an Alaska kid, to San Diego to go to college at San Diego State at late '85, and so I was here for the heyday of the fucking arena shows of Ozzy, Priest, anything big came through town. Even like going to see Warrant when they were starting to be really big on MTV. They were rocking, and the place was just packed full of super hot chicks, and everybody was partying. The parking lot before the concert was almost the best part. It was just so cool. Just everyone blaring tunes out the back of their car, and just with a frickin' 10 cases of beer and smoking weed, and just hot chicks all dressed up, nasty, running all over. I mean, it was like, what's not to like about that? Then you go into the show, and it's like larger than life. It's just lasers and, Halford under a strobe light going, yeah! And so I was just like, already running around my room, frickin' air guitar and screaming my head off. But I was like, let's see. Learning how to play guitar looks like it's way too much fucking work. That looks way too fucking hard. I actually have to dedicate myself to doing that. Like, I'll just be a singer. I'll just do that. Like, no singing experience.
There it is.
There's so much there. Like, that's great. When did you realize, like, the notes that you could hit, the range? Like, when were you like, holy shit, I can get to some sonic levels here?
Yeah, I mean, like, Priest was quickly my favorite band, and so I was just singing all the fucking, imitating, Stained Class all the way up to whatever, and then, and I was just doing it, and then I'm like, oh, well, I can do this, and then, doing it in your bedroom and hitting some notes, and then being on stage and doing it. When I started being in a band, I realized, well, wow, this is two different fucking things. Like, the vocal endurance that it took to get through a show, because my first thing, the funny thing is, like, my first band was at San Diego State, and we were like a cover band playing these parties, but San Diego State was a massive party school, and we would play like 30 keg, like 4,000 people, like it's a sea of people, bigger than many of the festivals I ever played, like when I first started, just out there, just, Louie, flew in from Miami Beach, BOAC, couldn't get us. I'm singing all that shit. And then we'd break into the Trooper, and like all the girls would go, what the fuck? And then like 5 drunk dudes would be up front going, fuck yeah! Banging their heads. So I got, we play, early, like I said, not being very good. I played just in front of humongous crowds, just because of what it was. And the funny thing was, the cover band, we started getting booked to play like showcase shows with like serious, super skilled, original metal bands of the day. These guys that were just like amazing look, and we were there. We would do like 5 covers, like Enter Sandman and fucking whatchamacallit, of like Mark Slaughter, like Slaughter, like stuff like that. And then we had maybe 4 originals. So you can imagine today, like if you're playing a show, like a showcase show, and some bands up there playing like 60% lame metal cover songs, and you're just looking at them like what is this track? We weren't, we were dressed in not metaled out, and so all these bands were looking at us like, what in the fuck are these guys? These guys are horrible. But since we were in the scene, the college scene, we had just so many friends that we were packing these fucking clubs, even though we were just garbage. And so the promoters didn't give a shit what we sounded like. They're just like, the band was called Tax Evasion. They're just like, we got to book Tax Evasion. Dude, they bring like 200 people every night. And it was just a fun. It's just a funny
do it.
dichotomy that we were up there, just this horrible band, but all the promoters wanted to book us because we just brought people, and the real talented bands were just like, dude, why is this band here? They're fucking horrible. But then I got into a band called Nomad, and that was like a serious band, and then that became Cage, and the rest is history. That was a fun run down memory lane.
Awesome.
Oh yeah. And now I take it, so it's got to be pretty epic looking back now that you shared the stage with people like Tim Owens, Ross the Boss, Michael Denner, and Hank Sherman. Like I don't really think someone's gone to battle with as many cool people and legendary people as you have. I think there's a very short list of people that can say that.
Yeah, especially when I joined the Denner Sherman thing. If you would have told me I was going to be fucking in a band with Hank Sherman and Michael Denner back when I first discovered King Diamond and Merciful Fate, just like, dude, one day you'll be in a band with these guys. I'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's really cool, and that was, it's a shame that's not happening anymore because that, there was some magic there, but there might be something happening along those lines. I cannot spill the full details, but there is something in the
awesome.
works with some of the remnants of that, plus some new characters. So I hate it when people go, it's a secret and I can't say anything. I hate when fucking people do that, but it's a secret and I can't say anything. So,
I definitely understand.
But
Yeah, we understand.
The jamming with Ripper, is fucking awesome because I was when we opened for them on the Jugulator tour and the Demolition tour. When he did the Jugulator tour, we were all my friends were blown away, dude. He was just unbelievable that night. We're like, he's fucking burying Halford right now, dude. It was so good. And,
those records are
to have him
so heavy, and just I'm in the camp that loves those records, honestly. And what he did live is fucking amazing. Still is anytime he gets on stage.
It's so funny when we go, play with the Tremors. I think we've done like maybe 60 shows together. It's always like, dude, I don't know, man. You might have to take the high notes tonight. And I'm like, dude, you say that every fucking night. And then you go out there and you start going, yeah! You just start like fucking destroying it. He's like, yeah, I don't know, man. It's we become good friends. We call each other. The cool thing about the bands that I'm in, like all the bands, is we hang out and talk to each other beyond the band shit. Like, we're friends. I call Ripper. I talk about football and other bullshit all the time. We don't even talk about band shit. So that's my I'm in this for the fun of it. I'm all about this thing being a vehicle for fun and good times and adventures. And I've been really fortunate that there just hasn't been a bunch of fucking lame fuckers that I've been in bands with where you can't stand them, I've gotten rid of those. There hasn't been many of them, and those people that I have, they're not in the band anymore. So
I imagine if you're going to call yourself
the motivation.
Yeah, if you're going to call yourself the Ripper and have like a longevity and a career, play with all kinds of awesome people, there's probably some humility, behind the scenes, you would think.
For me or him?
Oh, for the Ripper.
No, he's
like you were talking about.
Yeah, he doesn't take him.
Yeah,
he doesn't take himself like super seriously, and that was what it was kind of, we're like, okay, so what's it going to be like, because we had the band Cage for the Tremors. That was the backing band. So the five of us had done plenty, hung out, and we're already all homies. And we were like, okay, so what's it going to be like with Harry and Tim? And we got to walk on fucking eggshells or whatever. And now it's just like the seven of us, or just like a fucking heavy metal street gang. It's fucking great. Mm-hmm. But yeah, let's dive back into the Death Dealer a little bit.
Yeah, totally. So we always have our guests add some songs to our playlist, and I know some of your picks that I have here are from the Death Dealer. We'll get into our picks for this episode of Heavy Radio, our Heavy Radio picks, and we'll get back into Death Dealer while we do that.
Okay.
All right, Eric, what's your first pick that you're adding to the playlist?
Yeah. I went to the vaults a little bit. This is by a band called Bitch, and the song is Damnation Alley. I actually heard this come across in a TikTok randomly the other day, and I was like, what is that song? So I had to like go search, and I was like, oh, snap. So hell of a track, super catchy. Just old school track, just metal as fuck. So definitely go check out Bitch with Damnation Alley.
Can I say something about Bitch?
Yeah. We kind of just go round robin and jump in at anything that comes up.
Yeah, I've heard lots of her music, rockin'. She's got a good voice. But I see her online all the time, and she's definitely getting older, but her tits are still fantastic. Anyways, go ahead.
We Breaking news. You heard it here first. We have my first pick from the playlist is Seduce with Viper's Bite. So Seduce formed in Detroit in the early 80s. They had songs Any Time or Place and Watchin' that got plays on Heavy Metal Radio Z-Rock. They opened for Vinnie Vincent on one of his biggest tours. This just something that I comes through every once in a while, and I gotta crank it. It's Seduce with Viper's Bite. So we're getting into Sean Peck's first pick here to add to the playlist. It is Cage with Behind the Walls of Newgate off of Ancient Evil.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite tracks on that. I got a cool double vocal thing going on the verse, and really cool guitar melody. I sometimes go back to the Ancient Evil album and listen to it and go, I'm like, I can't believe we thought of all this shit. Like, sometimes I go back and listen to my own stuff going, how did we come up with this shit? But yeah, that's probably one of my favorite tracks off the Ancient Evil album.
Did you do all the lyrics for Cage?
Yeah, I do all the lyrics for everything.
So what was the inspiration of that? What were you going at with Behind the Walls of Newgate?
Well, Ancient Evil was a concept album. It's a horror story, like a King Diamond thing, which I actually wrote a full-length book for. We sold out of the book. I actually just sold 3 more on the internet, and I don't have 3 copies. I got to try and figure out where to find 3 copies of the book. So, yeah, I actually, finished a whole 150-page paperback book that, like, adds more to the story. And it's like in the late 1800s in England, and Newgate was an actual real prison. I did a bunch of research for the time period of what the whole prison system was. The main character is a higher up in this particular prison, and they're sneaking bodies out of there that they can experiment with this Egyptian frickin' medical dude, and
sounds pretty metal.
Yeah, awesome.
His
and
wife is sick, and it's a cool story. You guys got to check it out.
From what I knew about it,
Awesome.
I could tell Newgate was a prison, and then I knew it was to some extent that it was a real prison. So I was just curious of some more background on that. That's cool.
Yeah, back then, they would have public hangings. They would have like 20 people lined up to hang, women and men all together, and they're like, "You are accused," and like everyone's gathered around to watch, and they'd hang like 20 people. And then if you were in prison, it depended like how much money you kind of paid for your own shit. So if you're pretty wealthy, like you were like totally set up in prison, but if you were poor, like you didn't have shit. It was kind of a weird system. So the more I studied that whole, I did, like I said, lots of research to make that story, time period accurate. So definitely check out. I think I'm going to put out I have the audio book that I did. I think I'm going to actually release that for free pretty soon through the social media stuff. So if you're listening to this, keep an eye to the Cage page, and we might put a link to download the audio book for free.
Totally. Cage Behind the Walls of Newgate. Sweet. Crank that on the Heavy Radio playlist. And what's your next track, Eric?
Yeah. Let's see. My next one is by a band called Hardcore Superstar. No, I'm not. Don't relation to Idge, the wrestler. The song is called "Above the Law." It's real catchy, kind of like maybe late '80s stuff. Like it's like a 3-minute track. It's got a lot of hooks in it. It's super catchy, like rock metal maybe. So maybe some more like the hair zone, but like. Super catchy. I had not heard of these cats before, but yeah, definitely check out Hardcore Superstar, Above the Law. This chorus gets stuck in my head all the time now, so definitely check it out.
Sweet. My next track for the playlist is Beast Maker with Clouds in the Sky. This is some doomy goodness from Fresno, California, and I was digging further into them. It looks like they put out lots of content. Beastmaker.bandcamp.com. So it seems we had kind of got into some of the competing ways to release music, and I think when it comes to those types of services, I've felt the best about Bandcamp, and a lot of bands do release a lot of physical content through there. So, and it also feels like they, give artists a fairer cut than some of the others. So hopefully the competition with things like that will hopefully improve that whole scene there. Trevor Church is the guitar and vocals in Beastmaker. And his dad actually was Bill Electric Church from Van Morrison, Montrose, and the Sammy Hagar Band. And he said back in the day, Van would only let them do 3 takes of a song. If you fucked up, it goes on the record. So they've tried to carry that mentality. So it's good to see a young band, with some of those old school type dude, watching over them. So that's kind of cool.
Right.
And then Sean, the next track that Sean is adding to the playlist, it was Curse of the Heretic from Death Dealer, the War Master album.
Ah, so good. That's probably my favorite Death Dealer song. One of them, but definitely in the top 3. We did a sequel to that on the new Conquered Lands album called The Heretic Has Returned, which is a really good song. But that one, the middle of that song is got this insane King Diamond, Dimmu Borgir epic thing that's like, I'm so proud of that part. I remember I sent it to the bass player, Mike Davis. I go, dude, just check this out. I just did this. He was just like, holy shit, dude. I'm like, yeah, that's what I thought.
Nice.
Really fun to play because the opening riff, that whole riff is just so freaking. The crowd always like explodes when we play that live. So it's it's a motherfucker to sing live. God damn, every time I fucking there's so I pack in so many fucking words, and so I never shut up in my songs, and that just makes it. Even more difficult if you just keep singing the whole time.
Yeah.
But War Master, pick it up. That whole album is amazing, and this is one of the gems off it, Curse of the Heretic.
Yeah, Death Dealer, the album
Nice.
War Master. And I really think one thing I've noticed from following and being a fan of Ross the Boss for a long time is he always surrounds himself with people that it's like almost pushes his playing, He always plays on 10, pushes him to 11, and then always like, how do you get to these new heights and these new epic building riffs? And I think this one is definitely of his career. This is one of the peaks for sure. Great riffing from Ross the Boss.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Let's see. My next pick for the week is a band called Jerusalem, and this song is Primitive Man. I guess proto metal, proto doom metal. I don't like when this had to have come out. This people had to have like been losing their minds because nothing sounded like this. So definitely, if you love doom metal, stoner metal, just like the formative days, like the early Sabbath days, definitely check out Jerusalem with Primitive Man. That whole album is great.
Is that the band from Sweden?
I believe so. They only had a couple records, I believe, way back in the 70s, like early to mid 70s. Like this is from, I'm just going top of dome here. But this, because I remember when I found this track, I thought it was from the 80s, but then I was surprised to find out it was like the early 70s. It was the only thing out at the time that was that heavy had to have been like Sabbath. So I was really amazed.
Yeah, it's got to be the same band. What I remember hearing is, so they're from Sweden, and they were like a popular band that they kind of considered themselves Christian rock, but then all of a sudden, like, these mobs in Sweden started calling them the devil's music, and I know they like got an actual ban, and their touring like vehicles were destroyed. And like it was this huge thing. Like they were just so heavy that even though they were Christian rock, they were automatically the devil's music, and they definitely fought to be able to play that heavy radio music. That's for sure.
It was too heavy for the country of Sweden as a whole. Yeah, their lyrics. There's nothing like demonic or spooky about the lyrics at all. It's just the music is so fucking heavy. It must have been. They brought
Sweden. They brought Sweden to the next level for hard rock and heavy metal. Broke the boundaries. But yeah, and we. So the next track that I'm adding to the playlist comes from. It is Detente with Widow's Walk. They were formed in 1984 in Los Angeles, California. Ross Robinson was actually a member. He went on to be a producer on records by Sepultura and Korn and all kinds of people. But yeah, just some ripping heavy stuff, very very intense. Widow's Walk from Detente, and next up we're adding to the playlist from Sean Peck. We are adding Fly or Die from the Three Tremors record. Let's get into Fly or Die, Sean.
Yeah, it was just December 7th. Not too long ago. This song is about Pearl Harbor. I mean, like I said, I'm writing songs about witches and demons and fucking war, like any red-blooded American metalhead should write about. Not about my feelings and how freaking sad I am and the girl that left me. Although I do have a ton of sexual innuendo love songs that none of my bands will want to take on, and they're fucking great, and I got to put them out someday because all of my bands are too metal for that kind of shit. But I'm like, dude, Judas Priest, half their songs are fucking love songs. Van Halen, ain't talking about no. Anyways, I digress. Fly or Die is a song about Pearl Harbor, and many people have called it the Aces High of the modern age, and that's a moniker I love to take. Killer music video we did for it. Check out the music video online on YouTube. Came out fucking amazing, and it's a great song. It always goes over fantastic live, and I love playing it. Probably could be one of my favorite, if not the favorite, off that record for me. Fly or Die, the Three Tremors.
Yeah, one thing. So how did that one work out with Three Tremors? Did you have a collaborative effort on lyrics and concepts, or did you each do some?
No, when we wanted the putting the Three Tremors record together, period, was such an ominous task. I mean, when you read the accounts from Rob Halford and Dickinson on like why the Three Tremors didn't happen, they were like, talking about how difficult it would be. So us as Cage went and like literally wrote all the music and the lyrics, and I sang all the songs, and that just to make it easier, so that we could just get it done. And they definitely put their own spin on it. That's why we have the solo versions, because each guy sang the entire song on their own.
Yeah, that was definitely something.
It's just easier to complete that.
That was something I noticed, which I'd never known to really be done before, that I thought was really cool, that you could get the versions of the songs from each individual vocalist as well.
Yeah, and they're real. I mean, Ripper's version of the album is probably my favorite album he's ever done. It's so good. And, we're almost done with the new Three Tremors record. We have, I think, 10 of the 12 songs done, so that's coming out probably second quarter next year, and that's, going to be really good. And I don't know whether we'll do solo versions for that one or not. We have them, whether we'll put it out, I don't know. But the Three Tremors solo versions, still selling, and 3 discs in one package, and a killer digipack, and the packaging for that thing, I don't know if you've seen it, it's like incredible the way that thing came out. We have these 3 like kaiju monsters for each guy's album cover. It looks fantastic. Fly or Die.
Hell yeah. Crank It's, Fly or Die, Three Tremors.
Hell yeah.
And now we'll get into our newer tracks, Heavy Radio, new tracks. What you got, Aaron?
Yo, I got Raging Speedhorn with Doom Machine. This track is awesome. It reminds me of like the first couple Black Label albums, when it's like grittier and grimy, and it's got a speed about it. Like, I guess maybe like the tone wise, it's in the Doom realm, but it's driving. Like, there's nothing slow about it, and real aggressive band, Raging Speedhorn. I just discovered these cats made in the last month, and really excited to dig into their catalog. And the song is Doom Machine.
Crank it to 11. My next new track comes from Mr. Bungle with Sudden Death. I've been just spinning this one since it came out. Mr. Bungle released their first album in over 2 decades, and of course brought along Scott Ian and Dave Lombardo. And this, to me, just sounds like a really just crazy and cool to hear Mike Patton with Scott Ian and Dave Lombardo, and it almost hits that MOD SOD spot of where there's funny stuff, not always super serious, just zany, off the wall, but the riffing and the drumming are on point for sure. So that's Mr. Bungle with Sudden Death, and the next new track.
Let me say something about. Wait a second.
Time
out. Let me say something about that. So that was off the frickin' blah blah Wrath of the Easter Bunny album or whatever. Is that what that was from?
Yeah.
So so when the Death Dealer Conquered Lands, you're tracking the Amazon charts. We made it up to like number 7, and I'm seeing this thing at number 1. This fucking Wrath of the Easter Bunny. I'm like, what in the fuck is this bullshit? And so, of course, I just go right to my free YouTube Premium, and I get to listen to the album just for free. Just click it, and there it is. Why buy it when I can just click a button and listen to it for free? I'm being sarcastic, of course. And I started listening to it, and some of those I know it was done like a long time ago, and I finally learned what it was. Some of those riffs, literally, like, dude, that riff is from this Exodus song. This riff is from this Anthrax song. This riff is from this Slayer song. I mean, I thought it was like a cover album at first. That the riffs were so, like, I'd already
There's
heard
definitely
a
vibe.
And they're like, oh, well.
Yeah.
It reminded me of, some of it reminded me of that Soldier of Metal, that track that Ross the Boss produced from Anthrax. There was definitely a vibe for sure.
Yeah, some of those riffs, I swear, I could pick out, like, that is this. And I was tripping out. I mean, I listened to the whole record. It was cool, for sure. But I just didn't know how something called The Wrath of the Easter Bunny could be number 1 on this fucking Amazon metal charts for like a week straight. I was pissed off. Like, what in the fuck is this stupid shit? Anyways, go ahead.
And then you see,
It's
Dave
unique for
Lombardo
sure.
and Scott Ian. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah,
The
there you
next
go.
new track we're popping off is going to be. This one is from Death Dealer, and this is Conquered Lands. This
Oh,
is I'll Slay from Conquered Lands.
what? And you mean slay or be
Oh yes,
slain?
Slay or Be Slain. That's right. Slay or Be Slain from Conquered Lands.
Yeah, I'm like, do we have a track on there that
No,
I
I
don't
just
know
typed
about?
it and
Fuck, there's
had
a
a
song in
typo.
there I don't
Slay or
know.
Be Slain from Conquered Lands.
Now that song, I tried doing with Cage, and we just kind of like just weren't vibing on it. And then I took it over to Stu, and then we had we had it done, and then we made a last minute change on the verses, which made them better. And God, that song, like I said, I wrote that song so long ago. And that was one that I really had. I had kind of all the vocal melodies and lyrics together, and then the guys kind of came in and Stu made some magic guitars to it, and we really made that one shine. Yeah, that's a cool one. That was like I was writing the song, and I'm like, I had the title "Slay or Be Slain," and then I'm like, what the fuck is this song about? Like I didn't know what to write, but like I'll just start writing a generic like running into battle, man of war. Barbarian in Dungeons and Dragons world,
That works.
thing, and I just kept writing it, and it came out really cool. So there's not a lot of deep meaning to this song. It's just a badass, freaking heavy metal ride into battle song and drink some fucking beer.
Sometimes that's what it calls
Yeah,
for.
it is definitely it was definitely what the riff and the song calls for sure. Excellent, excellent. Crank Death Dealer with Slay or Be Slain.
Hell yeah. See, my last new pick for the week, my last pick for the week, is a band called Purgatory, and the song is called Stack 'Em Up. This just dropped. It is just a brutal band, super aggressive. It's definitely in the thrash, old school thrash fans for sure. Um, it's brutal. I don't know a better way to describe it. It's just like skate thrash aggression. But definitely check out Purgatory with Stack 'Em Up. It's awesome. It caught my attention like right away, and I was like, oh, these cats got it. So definitely check them out.
I'm definitely bringing the Death Dealer with my last new track. This is Every Nation World of Metal, and I love the video. I love the concept. Just because it's true. It's almost anywhere you go on the planet, you can find some of the most loyal and cool people that'll just hand you a beverage and rock out with you. And I like that this song just kind of brought that brought that whole idea to the song with Death Dealer with Every Nation World of Metal.
Yeah, the thing, like I said, I've been finding, there is with this divisive world that we're in right now. There are some on social media, some factions, especially in the Prague Power USA crew that's out there, of the gnarly virtue signalers, shamers, there's a lot of factions now. Like I said, some of the press, some of these people that are, like people are trying to kind of be heavily woke in the heavy metal world when we don't need that in the heavy metal world. Like we're already woke. We don't, Rob Halford came out as gay and no one gave a fuck. And that was in a time when it sure as fuck wasn't that cool to be gay, we're already past racism. We're past all that shit. It doesn't matter what kind of freak you are or what kind of problems you have or what kind of religion you subscribe to. If you're wearing an Iron Maiden shirt and I see you at the liquor store, we're like, what's up, dude?
Yep.
And so
I would say the big one, even like peace in the Middle East, like people that are from these countries that are told they should be hating each other and fighting each other can, like, when something like fucking Iron Maiden or Blind Guardian or Death Dealer comes to their ears, they can, raise up and cheers and have some brotherhood.
Yeah, I mean, we played, in Israel 3 times, and you're in there with that whole environment. But it's definitely, that's why I don't sing about politics, and if I do, it's veiled in metaphor, and it's just about liberty and rebellion and shit. And I don't talk about politics in social media. I mean, sometimes I'll talk about it, but I don't post about it because I need every fan that I can get, and I don't want to alienate anybody. But heavy metal is meant to be, an escape. If you want, there's all that shit is everywhere, and metal is meant to be an escape, and that's why these Tommy Lees and whoever the fuck else are on Blabbermouth saying this politician is stupid. There's like 5,000 comments telling him to fuck off, no matter what side he's on, because we're not listening to you. We're listening to you to play Shout at the Devil, not what your opinion is on healthcare. And plus, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, anyways. So, like, none of these guys have an informed opinion about anything.
We're gonna have a Tommy Lee versus Ted Nugent drum versus guitar battle on whether Obamacare should be repealed or not. and it'll be horrible.
That's our opener next year.
But that was the point of the song. Every Nation was like, if the world was all metal, we never would fight. We'd just bang our heads and get drunk every night. That was the point. And the guy that did the lyric video just did a great, because I couldn't we had some loose ideas and what we could put in there. And he's like, dude, I got this. And he put together that thing with all the propaganda posters, and it was amazing. So more people need to see that video, Every Nation, but it's got a great chorus, and it's a really good song, and it has a really cool message.
Oh yeah. And then the last new track we're closing off this episode and this playlist strong is Death Dealer, Running with the Wolves from Conquered Lands.
Wow. That was a fun one. I mean, Stu had that title as a reference title, and so I just kind of went with it. And then it's another one. So the music's there, the title's there. Now I'm like, okay, what the fuck am I singing about? Running with the Wolves. And so I kind of just did. Sometimes it's fun just to make a song about heavy metal, kind of like Every Nation, but like being in a band. And I was just like, where you don't say some funny lines in that song. It's all about being at a Death Dealer show, and we'll make the stage explode and all that shit. The video is amazing because we got to use the footage from that big arena tour that we did, and it's got some great lyrics. I must say so myself. Like, don't bring your girlfriend or you'll leave here alone. Our reputation breaking hearts, dreams, and homes. I love it.
This one definitely made me miss the live show environment. So it definitely worked with me, and kind of that, just the fun of being at a heavy metal concert. So yeah, definitely, I think it was on point for sure.
Yeah, they got a great review and lots of views, and definitely helped sell the record. That's a good pick.
Yeah, so definitely check out, if you have not already been cranking, go to steelcartel.com and check out the new Death Dealer, because you will not be disappointed. You'll be blasting this all year probably, and then you'll have a new, the next 2 Death Dealer albums to look forward to.
Yeah, that's right. There's Death Dealer as far as the eye can see, let me tell you.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. But yeah, this has been another episode of Heavy Radio. Crank it and play it loud.